Hey, if you ever been wondering, how do I take that side hustle and scale it up and make it into a real business or make it into a full main damey, as Pootie Tang once said? So that's a good question, because that was brought to me, and I said, you know what? Let me think about that for a minute. But when I thought about it, I went back a little bit. You guys remember during COVID when a lot of young folks who typically worked as wait staff, they worked, waitresses, waiters, bus boys, and all that. A lot of those folks, you remember during COVID, restaurants were shut down, so they didn't have a job. And they said, oh, I got to make some money. And there was not a lot of spot labor type jobs going on with everything being shut down. And so a lot of them discovered the side hustle. They discover how to make money online. They discover how to make money using social media. And so then when things cleared up, they had already established something new. They didn't go back to working as bus boys and waitresses. A lot of older folks said, oh, these kids don't want to work. No, they just figured out a better way to make money. And so I did a little checking and talked to a lot of folks and saying, how are you making your money online? And so a few things I already knew about, but I just wanted to really see, because I know no matter what I know I don't know it all. So I did some discovering, and so this video, I'm talking about that a little bit. So if you out there and you thinking about a side hustle, or you want to make extra money, or you want to do something different, you tired of your job, got some ideas for you on how to make that happen. So these young folks are rewriting the definition of success. Okay, yeah, they don't have the old corner office like we came up, folks my age, where we talked about having that cushy job with the corner office, the 10 years, and then get a full tenure at their job where they can't be fired. They may not have that, but what they have is freedom, flexibility, and purpose, because they're doing what they love, what they dig, and they're having fun while making money. And the ones that really know, they're actually building something that can be turned into a full-fledged business, something that can be bought and sold, or combined with somebody else's side hustle to make a full main damey, as they say. Okay, so if you thinking, yeah, but I don't have the money, I don't have the time, or I don't even have a clue on how to start making money with a side hustle, I'm going to try to see if I can help you fix that today. So, listen close, because it's cool. So, because our main goal is, if you do have a side hustle, we want to turn it from being cute to being consistent, and then take it from consistent to scalable if possible. But that's for another discussion. And so, you got somebody, so you sitting on your couch on your laptop, sitting at your kitchen kitchen table on your laptop, laying across your bed on your laptop, sitting on the floor on your laptop or your computer, working on. So what are they working? Now with this, I did a little research with Citizens Bank. I have a partnership with them. I bank with them as well. I'm not promoting them or anything like that, but just so you know where my information came from. They had did a research paper talking about side hustle, small business, because they're always looking to expand the small business relationships. So they found that 67% of 18 to 34-year-olds have pursued some sort of entrepreneurial venture, aka the side hustle or the side gig. I mean, and that's not a trend. It's not something trending. This is new, because this is a whole new generation of people that are building exits for themselves instead of excuses about there are no jobs. And half of them define their success as being freedom and flexibility. So freedom to come and go as they please, flexibility to work when they don't want to work, and they know that the more money, if they want to make more money, they got to do more things, and they come up with different things. So if you feel like the old career playbook don't fit anymore, because we know they're cutting jobs, we know how many jobs they cut in 2025, and you're thinking about it, it can be done. Is it easy? It's easy to get started, but it takes work to be successful, and so you want to make sure you have all the tools you can. But if you're concerned about being unmotivated, that's not you being unmotivated. That's you being correct about the state of things going on. So, that new success, freedom, flexibility, and purpose is a beautiful thing. There are lots of folks out there, including myself. We talk much about the motivations. We talk about being inspired and things to inspire you, things to have you, direct you in how to go about succeeding in this. Freedom, flexibility, and purpose is good. Discipline is also an ingredient needed. So while ambition is beautiful, ambition without structure is just like stress wearing perfume. So for me, a coaching plan or a framework, more so than a coaching plan per se, is I'm going to give you this framework. That's how you can move that from side hustle to sustainable business. It's a future-proof asset. So the framework is basically form, fund, fortify, and then future-proof. So the first shift is mental, and it changes everything. Remember, you want to move from side hustle to business. So you don't want to let your side hustle remain a hobby. You want it to be a business, but a business in the early stages. Now, 3 steps that I'm going to have to kind of help reduce that chaos is you want to formalize your business structure. You want to separate personal and business financing. That's important. And then you want to create a roadmap to get you from side hustle to full-on business. So pause this video and then answer these questions for yourself. What do you sell? Think about what you do. What is your side hustle? Is it a product? Or is product or products? Is it service? And then think about this. Who do you sell to? Who is your audience? Whether it's your target audience or your actual audience, who do you sell to? And does your product, do you know, I ain't gonna say it does, but do you know what problems that your product and or services solve? And then out of everything that you do, what's the one offer you want to be known for? What do you want to see? People know me for credit and finance and real estate. They know me for real estate and all that stuff, but all those pieces are part of that one thing: credit, lending, mortgage, real estate. But they know me for that money stuff, that finance stuff. Okay. Because you want to be careful not to only do a little bit, not do a little bit of everything. You don't want to be all things to all people. You want to have a specialty and be known for that specialty. Because if you try to do a little bit of everything, you be a jack of all trades, you'll be busy, but you'll usually be broke. So I'm going to tell you about some action steps that you could do this week. So first thing of all, if you haven't done so already, choose a business name that you plan on using consistently. If it's catchy, it's great. If it's got your name in it, that's beautiful too, at least in the early stages. And you want to pick a basic structure. You can even talk what a pro is. Of course, everybody knows, we see it on video at mass about an LLC and an EIN. And usually that's where you want to be, especially at the beginning. Now, if you're starting a business and you're making over $50,000 a month, then you might want to go right to S Corp. But typically, at the beginning stages, you want to have an LLC, and most likely in the state you live in, but it could be in another state if most of your business is actually being done in a state other than the one you live in. But typically, you want to go register with the state that you live in. Once you register your LLC, which can only be done at a minimum, it can be done for only a minimum amount of money. State fees vary. But it's usually that there's folks out there that will do it for you and charge you. But I can say this, it's a fairly easy, straightforward process. It's something you can easily do in 20 minutes. And so I don't really, unless you're super busy and don't mind, I don't really see a need to pay someone else to do it because it's fairly inexpensive. Now, once you get your LLC and it's ratified by the state, and then you can go to irs.gov, you can apply for an EIN. That's your basically your tax ID number for your business. It's the equivalent of your business's social security number. And you want to have that. That is totally free of charge, so there's no need, and it's even easier to do than the LLC. So there's really no need to pay anybody unless you just really don't want to do it yourself. But at free, it's quite affordable and it's quite easy to do. So it doesn't cost you a lot of money, doesn't cost you a lot of time and effort. So, and then once you do that, you get your EIN number. Then you want to go and open a dedicated business bank account in the name of your business, with you being as the agent. While this does help to make your business look official and look like a real business, you're not doing it just for that reason, because you don't want to look official. You want to actually operate your business officially. So you're doing that for that. This is how you set up your business and structure your business foundation, so that everything, as you build your business, you're building on a solid foundation that you don't have to spend 10 times the money to go back and fix later, should you not set it up correctly, or at least set it up for the long haul. So next, you want to talk about fund. First of all, you got to get that first bit of money to go into your business, that first mile. And this is a first mile money strategy. So there's several ways you can fund your business. You can take money out of your bank account. You can use your paychecks. You can borrow money using your personal credit to do it. But there's also grants. Now, the grants are out there, but it's not a simple process. And I always say, I have other videos where I talk about grants. Grants are available. They are out there. But remember, like anything, it's free. So you have to do a lot of due diligence, and you have to do a lot of, it may be free money as in not repayment, but it's not free because there's a lot of steps. There are quite a few steps you got to do that. Now, you do have some options. There are folks out there who specialize in getting grants for small businesses, particularly new businesses. But of course, you want to do your due diligence and make sure you find somebody that's reputable and effective, because there's a lot of reputable companies out there, but they're not really that good at getting you any meaningful grant money. So you got to do your due diligence there and hire somebody. Now, if you happen to be skilled in writing grants, you most certainly can do it yourself. But if you want results, I recommend you find a professional. If you want to ask me about some professional grant writers that I think would be effective for you, you can certainly reach out on the links in the show notes, and then I can advise you on that. But understand that it's not quick money, it's not easy money, but it is out there. Then, of course, there's traditional funding, borrowing, whether it be business credit, 0% interest business credit cards, whether it be collateral loans for commercial vehicles or equipment, things like that for your business. So, and Citizen Bank did a survey, and they said that young entrepreneurs commonly fund their loans early on through friends and family at about 32%. Bootstrapping, that means all the things I was talking about before, cobbling money together, selling stuff that they want to get rid of to fund their business. And then, of course, bank loans and lines of credit. But I'm going to give you a little bit of coaching truth. The funding is not just about getting the money. It's about building a system that can hold the money without falling apart. because a lot of folks get into trouble when they start out. They might have good credit, and then they're able to go out and get a bunch of credit cards, and they don't know what to do with the money to make it work for the business, and then they just end up acquiring a bunch of debt, and then they have a business that's not making any money to pay back the debt, and so they get into trouble. So you want to have that structure. And so one suggestion that I have is that you try to be agile about it with your business. You know, that business credit card or that line of credit, if you pair that up with business accounts and then use tracking tools to manage your cash flow, if you're making money in the business, that'll be good, because you got money going in, and then and that's accumulating, and then you got money going out through your credit card debts, and you're paying that off every month. And then as you accumulate money, then you can figure out ways to take that money you're accumulating in the business and put it into assets that'll help you make more money. But again, that's another video. I don't want to go down that road. Now, I want you to write this down. This is important. Okay, figure out what is your monthly keep the lights on number. That's the monthly amount of all the bills and expenses related to your business. What's that monthly number? You want to have that figured out. Then you want to figure out what's your current monthly revenue from the hustle. So how much is your side hustle making a month? So you got, what's your monthly lights on number, total expenses and costs, what's your current monthly revenue from the hustle. And so that you get those two, and then you determine what's the gap between those two. Hopefully it's a positive gap in the plus side, but if it's not, you still need to know that number, because if you're trying to build your business, grow your business, and then one day scale your business, it's not about the vibe, it's not about the hustle, it's about the math. So you want to make sure that math is mathing, as they say, and so that the gap is positive and growing. So a big rule of thumb is track everything. Track your expenses, track your revenue, track your customers, track your calls, track everything. Because anything you want to work on, you want to measure it first. Because if you can't track it, you can't improve it. So your first funding tool that I was talking about, it might be a spreadsheet. It might be a log book. It might be the old school accountant ledger book. You know, I know that's not sexy, but you got all of these tools, but the key is to use them to track everything. So the next step is to fortify. Make it sustainable, not just survivable. You know, so once you know and you got confidence that you can make money on your side hustle, you got to learn how to run a business, right? So as I was doing this research, again, going back to that Citizens Bank thing, it made some good points, and that while it's a side hustle and you're thinking about when and whether you should or when is the right time to go full time with your side hustle, you got to treat the side hustle like a business by opening that dedicated business bank account that I was talking about, by tracking all your income and all your expenses, and by setting aside money for taxes, because Uncle Sam gonna always want to get their cut. And when you've done that, you got that set up and you're ready to go full time, then according to this article, that's when you recommend, and I agree with it, that you shift your focus to cash flow planning and pricing strategies that can allow you to earn income and replace your current salary, because you want to retire yourself. And that takes a strategy in and of itself. So let me put it this way. If your pricing doesn't include taxes, tools, time, and profit, your business will end up being like another demanding roommate. Gimme, 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 gimme. Brother, can I get some? And you don't want that. So you want to make sure that you do that, because and I've said this many times, I find that new entrepreneurs often have difficulty charging fair prices for themselves. Some of them think like they're inside the customer's pocketbook, and they say, oh, I wouldn't want to pay that much. I think that's too much, or people won't buy at that price. If you don't have taxes, tools, time, and profit built into your price, what's the point? What's the point of having a business if you can't profit from it and pay all your bills and be good? So it's important to understand the value of your product, product or service, and that you price it not just price, and then don't just price it more than taxes, tools, time, and profit, but you want to make sure you got a decent profit. So, and as long as the value of your product or service is far more greater than the price that you're charging, then you're good to go. You'll be fine. So I just want to put that out there. Don't underprice yourself thinking you got to be the cheapest or the lowest to get people to buy. Because even people that'll buy for you when you're the cheapest or the lowest, they're just going to go somewhere else the minute they find somebody else even cheaper and even lower. So don't play yourself. Price to win. So let me give you a checklist for that. And these are 5 repeatable tasks that you can do to fortify your business. Fulfillment, outreach, and invoicing, you want to have those. So fulfillment, outreach, invoice, customer service, and customer satisfaction. So you follow up with those things. And so if you do those every time, and because you want to reach out, initial customer service. Once you fulfill, then you want to outreach to make sure the customer is satisfied. You want to invoice them if they hadn't paid up front. You want to invoice them after the fact, and then you want to follow up after invoicing once again on the customer service. Customer service is huge in business. I mean, certain things you don't need to go more or less, but largely based on the price, the ticket, if you will, of your item, you definitely want to have higher levels of repeatable tasks. Now, whatever your repeatable tasks that you choose that kind of fall in these buckets, you want to turn them into simple steps to create a SOP, a standard operating procedure. So however you fulfill, however you outreach, however you invoice, so on and so forth, take those, turn them into repeatable steps. And then that way anybody following your footsteps, anybody you train, they can do it exactly the way you do. And then you want to track at least one metric every week, whether it's your leads, whether it's your raw leads, whether it's your conversions, whether it's the average order value that you're selling, and even cash on hand that you have. You always want to measure those. Pick one of those, measure it weekly, then pick another one. Because these small tweaks and these small attempts and focus on different things creates a small structure that creates big freedom later. Because if you're measuring it now when it's small and easy, once you start to grow, you'll have a system to be able to grow a bigger. If you can track 20 leads, if you have a system for tracking 20, then if it's a good system, then it'll work whether it's 20 or 200. If you're tracking conversions, the same. And if you're working to focus on increasing your average order value, you got some work to do to get people to buy more, things of that nature. So let's talk about future proof. This is kind of like thinking about your exit planning. And although you got a small business, you might not be thinking about an exit plan right now. Don't necessarily think of it as something, I'll worry about it later down the line when I got a real business. Because this is a part that most people skip and then regret it later. Okay. Now, referencing back to that article, it had did a survey. In that survey, it was saying that many young people are already thinking about an exit path for their business. It said about 18% they want to, if they get a successful business, their goal is to sell it to a bigger company for a nice check. 18% say they want to pass it on to a family, the next generation maybe. 21% aren't really sure because they're kind of young and so they're not thinking that far ahead. Now, I'm going to give you a coaching truth that I found on this case. If your business can't run without you, technically you don't own a business, you own a job. And so we all, myself included, are all working towards building that and getting away from it being a self-employed situation to a full-on job. Now, I have a team. A large part of my business can function without me and get things done. There are still things, though, a lot of the customer service aspects of my business that still rely solely on me because I've not created a team to handle those things. I'm still handling those myself. But about half of my business can be done without me. So I'm not there yet, but I'm on my way. But I certainly know how to I know what I need to get there, and I know how to tell people how to get there. The structure I know, I just haven't, the execution. I'm still working on that. Now, that's part of my future proofing plan that I have implemented, and it is growing and working towards my business. Basically, because I'm still in the process of documenting some other processes that are not already SOP'd with my team that's working in this one segment of my business. But I am continuing to build strong financial habits. Credit history is no issue for me. But if that's something you need to work on, that's especially something you want to do. People think if they get a business, they don't need to worry about credit. Trust me, credit serves you more in business than it does on a personal level. So don't think that business is a workaround for having good personal credit. And don't think that business credit is a workaround for personal credit. And that business itself is a workaround for having business credit. Because they all help, they all work together, and you can leverage one off of another and do great things having all three. And when we talk about an exit strategy, once you've built your business out as a full team, something that can be sold to somebody else, you want to make the business transferable. If you ever decide, I want to cash out, whether you sell it to a family member or a stranger. So think about it this way. If someone offered to buy your business in the next 90 days, what pieces would be missing that you would have to get into place to make that business ready to be sold? Say they want to give you $500,000 for your business, and they say, okay, in order for us to do it, you got to have all these things in place. And you say, what would be missing? But the thing is, that's not a question to make you nervous. It's a question to make you dangerous. But in the best way, because if you already know what's missing, you'll fill in those gaps. And then once you fill in those gaps, now you got a dollar business that can be sold without you, and then you can cash out and move on to something else. If it's big enough, you can go retire. But most of us know we don't think about retiring per se. We're just looking for the next fun hustle, So that's sort of a little touch on exit strategy. So if you got that side hustle and you want to make it a full-time job, or you want to retire yourself, if you create that form through structure and the separation, and you fund it properly using that first mile capital plus cash flow tools to make sure you accumulate cash flow, you fortify your business by having good pricing that guarantees you your costs are covered and a good profit for yourself, and processes that can be duplicated by anybody when you bring in help. And then future-proof your business by having everything documented, and that have exit thinking about, if I wanted to sell this business, what is it worth, and how do I make sure I set it up to be able to sell to somebody else? So in short, if you're older like me and you're thinking about the side hustle, it's a great time. You just got to get yourself skilled in the right way to be able to do this, because these young adults are not waiting for permission to build their lives with freedom and purpose the way they're doing with their side hustles and their online marketing and their online businesses. Everything that's happening here is not theory. These are not magical people out here. This is all documented, measurable, and it's happening right now. I just want any of you that's thinking about it and you say, how do I do it? I can definitely show you how to get there. There's a structure, there's a process, and I have a program that can also show you how to do this thing. But I want you to walk away with this. Here's a little homework. If you got your LLC, your EIN, open up that business account and get that in place. If not, at least start tracking every dollar you're making, whether you're collecting your money through Cash App or Chime or PayPal or Stripe or any of them. You want to track that money and track it regularly and think about that before you spend it. And then create a 90-day offer, your 90-day offer, your audience, your outcome on a piece of paper on one page. So you say, who do I sell to? What do I want my outcome to be? And so what am I offering them? And say, what do I want the next 90 days to look like? Now, hopefully this helps you. And if you want more information about some tools to help get you started, if you want to have a conversation with me where I can help get you guided on how to start that, if you already got a side hustle, how to get it organized to make more money. If you're thinking about, you're not sure what kind of side hustles are available, I can certainly help you with that and tell you what's available. Everything from affiliate marketing to affiliate partnerships as well. I can definitely help you with that. So you can talk about form, fund, or fortify in there and tell me what stage you're in. If you think you're in form or fund or fortify or even future, if you got everything all together, that's great too. But tell me what stage you're in. And if this helped, please subscribe to my channel. I want to get my subscribership up. It's no cost. I don't ever plan on charging for this. I put this information out there because I want to give back and guide people along the way on the things that I talk about, whether it be personal and business credit, business funding, as well as wealth mindset, because I want to help people to try to move that as I move. I want to you move when I move. So I offer everything that I have, and in the hopes that you can benefit from it and share that with somebody else. But at least share the videos as well. I hate to ask you to do too many things, but please subscribe. Please like if you like the video, but please subscribe, because there's always new ones coming. There's a lot there already in there, lots of stuff on different subjects. And so do that. So until the next video, you guys, peace and good luck with your hustle.